All right, here we go with Thing Ascension, and I guess this is fitting. We have both the Thing and the Ascension. Sand seems decent, and we're on the play as well. So we're going to go ahead and lead with the island and just plan on cycling our visions at the end of the turn here. I think that's probably more likely than needing something to bolt. Could be wrong. If he goes Birds of Paradise, then we're going to feel punished, but well. Well then. Alright, this is fine. Well, I mean, it's not ideal. But, it could be worse. Okay, good. We can actually plan out this a little bit. Now we draw this. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and probe him with life, because depending on what his hand is, I might just play the Thing in the ice, or just the Ascension, and rather than bolting this. It depends what he has, of course. So, oh no, Twisted Image for our Thing in the ice. Okay, well, we're definitely on the Ascension plan here. Eugenic Growth, Rancor, Might of Old Krosa, huh? So, and Inkmoth next eye. So what he can do on his next turn, I think I'm just going to play the Pyromancer Ascension here. Then again, we just bolt it and he doesn't do anything next turn. And then we untap and hopefully have a 1-mana spell. Yeah, that seems fine. Let's just get it out of here. Yeah, okay. I like drawing that. Well, that'll be fine later. Okay, this is fine. We're just going to bolt it and get it out of here and buy ourselves some time. That's all we need. Next turn, we can play the Ascension and do nothing if that's what we need to do. And then the turn after that, we just have to hope to not get one-shotted by the Inkmoth. It's possible we go for the Ascension there. We take a hit, then we try to bolt it, but I just hate playing that game with them. I'll just buy the turn. I mean, really, we just 50-50 whether or not he's going to have a 1-drop that we needed to bolt. Wow, okay. Well, let's go ahead and get the Ascension out here. I don't hate where this is going. You know, it's also possible we could have played the Thing in the Ice because he doesn't have blue mana, so that Twisted Image in his hand wouldn't kill it. And maybe we could work on flipping it. But on the other hand, if he does, if he just hits a blue source and we completely waste the turn, a pretty critical turn there as well. Not to mention allow him to cycle for a card, which is not what we want to do. So, Triple Manamorphose is exciting though, especially with 3 different spells in our graveyard already. That doesn't mean we're actually going to find a way to meaningfully interact with this Inkmoth without him just killing us, but we can try. See if he goes for if I were him, I would just put the Rancor on it. Doesn't really cost, I mean, that's fine. He wants to leave up the pump spell, that's fine too. Okay. We'll take at least 1. Okay, well, we're going to take 3. Just 3. Interesting. So he burns the Mutagenic Growth against a Lightning Bolt deck. Okay. I don't know if that was a great idea for him, but we'll see. I'm going to go ahead and fetch out our Hallowed Fountain here. And hope that we hit some nice stuff here. It would be great if these Manamorphoses hit things that we can... Well, okay, a land here, not the worst thing. Let's go ahead and start with the Manamorphose. Number 1, we can make a lot of mana this turn. Or maybe next turn. We can make mana with these later. So at least with this 3rd one, depending on what we draw here. And this is, by the way, represents the blue mana for our opponent. So we're just going to get red and blue back. Draw a Remand, huh? Okay, well. We can play the Manamorphose to go a little deeper. Seems fine. Get our first count on our Ascension here. Okay, so we get our red and our blue back. Draw another Ascension. I mean, that's not the worst thing in the world. I think what I'm going to do is play this Ascension, play my island, just pass the turn back with Remand up. You know, Remand's not great. We have to hope we don't die. We certainly could die, but if we don't die, then hopefully we get to untap, use a spell to trigger the Ascension, use the Manamorphose to start the train going, and see if we can get some value somewhere. Now, alternatively, I could play Thing in the Ice there with the plan of him Twisted Imaging it and us remanding that. Doesn't seem like it'd be great for us. Now, we also could have gone ahead and continued that next remand, so we'd or that next Manamorphose, so we'd have double remand. But that's actually not very good, as it turns out. So he's interesting. He's not playing the second or the second Inkmoth, and he doesn't want to use Pendlehaven to pump it either. This is okay. I don't know what I'm supposed to read into that, but I do know I need to remand this so we don't die. And next remand, not great. Alright, well, we'll see where this thing goes here. At the very least, it looks like we might have outs next turn. If we take 5 here, go up to 8 poison. Another mutagenic growth kills us, he doesn't have it. We draw another Thing in the Ice, huh? Well, this is actually pretty terrible. Okay, so what if we just pass... So, okay, so if he... I mean, this is pretty bad all around here. If only I could remand my own spell. And still have mana after that, which I cannot. Alright, so here's the thing. We're just more or less dead on board if he just attacks back with the Inkmoth and pumps it with a Pendlehaven, but he hasn't shown yet this game that he's actually going to do that, which is weird. If he does that, then we just have to burn the Manamorphose and try to find a Bolt or Helix or whatever. But that's as it is anyways, I guess. I mean, alternatively, we Manamorphose now. We get our counter on our Ascension, but then we're looking for Lightning Bolt and we won't even have red mana on his turn. So we actually, there's nothing we can do here but pass, I don't think. Because finding, triggering it now and getting red mana, none of that helps us at the moment. What we would ideally like to happen is for our opponent to, just try to throw some sort of pump spell down on the Inkmoth Nexus, let us trigger our Ascension with Remand, then Manamorphose to try to draw multiple cards to try to bolt it to death. That gives us several outs. If he just pumps with Pendlehaven, we have 1 out. And even that is, not looking very good. And no blocks. Alright, have we scared him into just hitting us for 1? Seems extraordinarily unlikely. Okay, well, fair enough. We will Manamorphose. Alright, well, let's see if we get lucky. We have 1 draw, which can technically hit a blue spell that would draw us more cards and try to find a Bolt, and then he has to have nothing, but that's just the situation we find ourselves in. I'm actually just going to get red here. I don't think it matters. So sure, we'll get red. We'll hit a Scalding Tarn and die. Fair enough. Quite silly. Okay. Close game. And we got punished so hard by just coin flipping wrong on that first turn, not knowing whether we wanted the... Let's see the blood moons in here. Just not knowing whether we want... If we'd gone for the bolt over the cycle on the first turn, then the game might have played out very differently. Maybe that was correct. It just felt like there's a lot of, there's only a couple decks that have one drops you necessarily even have to immediately bolt, right? Like I'm probably not bolting a Curse Catcher there. I'm probably not, like I can't bolt a Boggle. So it's basically just a Mana Dork or Infect, and that's, I would say, all those decks combined probably comprise 10 to 15% of the field or something. So the other decks do not do anything on turn one that we have to extremely worry about. So all right, we'll get the Romance out of here. The rest of this looks pretty good. I don't love the lootings. I actually really don't like the Thing in the Ices. Actually, now that I think about it, and Thing in the Ice is good, of course, but in the situation where he's main decking Twisted Images, and he almost certainly has more because he expects Spellskite, then it's not doing much work for us here. All right, well, we have access to three more removal spells this time around. Engineer Explosives, considering Anger, I'm considering maybe get an Anger in there. Access to a couple Blood Moons. We can only have so many non-instant and sorcery spells and only so many non-copy spells, and that we don't have multiple, full 4 of copies, so this is fine. Yep, this is a keeper. Perfect information this game. I like it. So he's got, interesting, okay, so he has some draw, a Noble Hierarch, a Become Immense, and a Dispel. But no Infect guy, so we're under no immediate pressure to not just go off here with our Ascension. Yeah, I'm fine with this. My hand is even, I think, reasonable enough. We don't need to loot here. Yep, you get perfect information as well, friend. Now, I don't know. Him not having an Infect creature seems kind of rough for him here. A Noble Hierarch. Is he gonna eat a Lightning Bolt? It doesn't even get pumped by the Pendelhaven. Since Pendelhaven can only target 1/1s, and it is a 0/1. Or when it attacks a 1/2, but never a 1/1. Alright, so with perfect information, what does he choose to do on his first turn? Alright, go ahead and shock ourselves here. I assume he's playing it. I guess if he doesn't, then we didn't need to shock ourselves, but I don't see that being a huge deal either way. We'll see. He may opt to not play it. I don't know. I mean, that would be odd. You don't play it to not... Yeah, interesting. Whatever. That's fine with me. Great. There's the path. Okay, so let's go ahead and just slam down this Ascension and go from there. Yeah, so we dealt ourselves 2 damage we didn't need. If we lose the game by 2 damage, then I guess I should have waited to click, but just got a little trigger happy on the keyboard. I don't think it's going to matter much. Alright, so he's got Dispel up to try to protect it. This play makes sense. Unfortunately for him, I'm just not going to care about it. I'm just going to go about setting up my hand. It's actually how I intend to play this. And just a question whether we want to loot. I don't, so we'll just pass. We also have Lightning Bolt plus path open right now, so, and he doesn't know about the path, so we can get his Hierarchy if we really need to. I just don't think we need to really care about it yet. That we'll fight over. Here on his instep. All right, so we actually want the lightning bolt. No, I guess we want the path to be the one that resolves, right? Um, you know what? What if? What if we don't do any of that? What if we just Manamorphose here? Then Visions. Just continue to try to set up our hand on our graveyard. We wait for him to crack his Windswept Teeth on our instep, and then we do it. He doesn't have access to as much mana. I'm going to try that. Now, it is possible that he plays around that properly and doesn't give us the opportunity by not fetching, but most people are trained to fetch in the instep. Let's see what we want to do here. I doubt he fights over this. It'd be a little odd. Alright, so we'll get our blue and our red back. We'll hit a Lightning Helix. Okay, now we're talking. Alright, so we'll go ahead and Visions here. I'm going to fetch for the Plains and try to path this. Or fetch for the Hallowed Fountain. We don't actually have a Plains. And he will dispel that. And then we will untap and have the ability to Helix and or Bolt. Now that we have access to a third removal spell, I'm a little less worried about it. And getting some work in our graveyard. Alright, so what do we want here? Do we want the Hallowed Fountain or the Sacred Foundry? We want the Sacred Foundry. Alright, let's go ahead and path this guy. Now, since he knows we have Lightning Bolt, he might just let this resolve, which is actually the correct play so that he gets a land and chooses to fight over something later. No, he's not going to do that. Okay, so this is great. We'll even get to use our mana right here. We bolt this. He dispels. We untap and Helix it. And get the best possible outcome out of our removal is that we gain 3 life. He doesn't get a land to wash, obviously, on the Lightning Bolt, and we get to gain 3 life. That's exactly what we want. Barring any crazy pump shenanigans. Okay, this is all fine. Alright, so let's see what we draw. I might, depending, we draw another bolt. Okay, so we can bolt to trigger this. I don't think I'm going to do that, because we can do that later. I think I'm actually going to go ahead and loot. So, happily pitch lands like this. And just Helix this thing away. Well, we could also bolt and then Serum Visions. Actually, that's probably better. Our life, we have to be a little aware, given the Become Immense in his hand in the Hierarch. You know, that represents 7 plus pump spells. So we do have to be aware of that. That's why, actually, one of the reasons why I want to Serum Visions. Alright, so Thought Scour and Git Probe, huh? We have a Git Probe in here, so that's number 2 on that, and then we could copy a Helix. Thought Scour copy seems fine as well. I guess it just draws 2. Sure. I'll go ahead and play. Well, we're gonna draw. We don't know what we're gonna draw. We have the looting in the graveyard. I'll go ahead and sandbag the land for now. Now, the way to die is with multiple pump spells plus Become Immense here. Hopefully that is not the case. We're not completely out of the woods. Oh no. Well, that was annoying. We spent a lot of this game setting that up. Whatever, it actually gave us a little bit of a cushion on our life total. So now it's Become Immense in his hand and another card I'm not sure if we know about. That actually is kind of rough. We planned playing this game around that Ascension by a lot. Is he just going to go for it? And he just wants to get his damage in? Sure. Take 7, go to 9. Alright, so we will... I'm almost tempted to pay life. Almost tempted to just pay life to do this. Well, no, we have this. So it doesn't matter, right? No. We're going to draw the thing, but we can... Yeah, this is fine. We don't have to pay life. Oh, crap. Well, that's a good last card to have. Interesting, okay. Well, I guess we go ahead and burn it. Maybe not. It only gets worse from here, though. No, I don't think we do. Well, let's go ahead and Thought Scour, mill ourselves. Alright, looks like we milled Ascension and a Thought Scour. Serum Visions later is good. It doesn't tell me what I milled. Okay. Well, I guess since we know he's going to counter it, we just go ahead and do it. It'll get dispelled, but at least then if he draws, it's, you know, a situation where he's a pump and then we try to kill and then he dispels it. He's at no cards in hand. We have a lot of time, given the current board state. We have Serum Visions in our hand, even Faithless Lootings in our graveyard if things get desperate. So I feel pretty decent about where we're at. Our deck's certainly better at grinding than his, in theory. All right, so let's go ahead. I'm not even gonna rush to kill that thing. Not yet. So we can hit off the visions. Now we have to keep in mind, I'm gonna go ahead and bottom this. We have to keep in mind, given the fact we boarded out our thing in the ices, that we only have copied bolts to kill him. So like, we have 2 lightning bolts in our graveyard already, and that's something we have to keep in mind in 1 helix. Those are not trivial details. Well, there's a bolt. I don't want the land. I'll take the bolt. And get probe is fine as well. Now that we have the bolt, I'm just going to go ahead and kill this thing. Get some life back. I say that I'm going to try to kill this thing. Okay, it's down. Alright, so we're going to draw bolt. Then we have live draws after that, and we can go ahead and hold the probe for a while to maybe trigger an ascension. It's rough given how much of his anti spell cards or whatever also are kind of anti our deck cards. I'm going to be patient here, though. I don't think we need to just cycle our probe or anything like that. He's the one who's got to put together a threat. Right, and even things like that are fine for us because if we draw another one, we'll just flash back a Faithless Looting. Now, the fact he's sandbagging 3 cards over there is interesting. Alright, so let's go ahead and flash back our Faithless Looting, keeping up our Lightning Bolt. We had the Howling Fountain in hand, so it doesn't matter. Right, okay, so I'm going to get rid of a probe in the island, and then I'm going to probe him, I guess. The thing is, I want to be able to cast the path. Maybe that doesn't matter. We pitch this. I mean, pitching one probe here doesn't seem like a big deal either. And we just play the land tapped. Seems fine. It's sad or pitch both of these. We're operating on less mana, but given that we're going to want to draw Ascension and immediately start going off, I kind of like actually putting some more mana onto the field. The question is, should we have pained ourselves there, go to 9 to hold up the path? I don't think so, though. Our opponent's trying to sculpt the perfect hand that can, multiple Become Immenses to kill us and protect his guy all in the same breath. Alright, we have another... We don't have any more lootings in our graveyard. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and pass. Continue to play this waiting game here. So we have 2 lightning bolts in the graveyard, 2 helixes in the graveyard, 1 bolt in our hand. So we have to keep those things in mind. Alright. Visions of Beyond with 22 cards in our graveyard, huh? That's not bad. Except, I'd like to draw 3. It's pretty good. Okay. Got a Dispel to work with. We can go ahead and probe, I think. Yeah, we'll go ahead and probe. I'll pay life because I want to keep up Bolt, Path. Well, I can do everything, right? Bolt, Path, Dispel. So we can go ahead and pay mana for this. So he's got a Pump Spell. Oh gosh. Okay, well that's what we're gonna want to dispel. So he's just got a Pump Spell. Okay. Well, we're gonna need to find that Ascension. So his pump spells do not beat our Path to Exile though, so we have that going for us. This has been a pretty crazy game actually. Yep. I mean, sure, we'll go ahead and path it. It's possible I could bolt, make him burn the Mind of Volcrosa, then path it, but I don't really see if we give him off creatures, we don't need to trade pump spells for bolts. What we want to do is draw Pyromancer Ascension with Dispel up to protect it from the Nature's Claim. That's what we want to do. Alright, so we're down to not very many lands left in our deck, so we are going to have to find it and then trigger it. Well, there's a bolt. Okay, well, we have 6 points of burn. If we draw the other 2 Lightning Helixes, I guess we don't even need to have an Ascension going. Alright, so we have 2 Flooded Terrain left in our deck, 2 Tarns, 2 Ascensions. Blood Moon would not be great, given how many cards we've had to disc. It'd be fine, actually, it'd be fine. But I don't have a ton of access to blue. Alright, so we just need to find the Ascension here. Seems like we can be patient to do so. Okay, well there's 9 points of burn. So that and where we actually have a lot of outs. Not only can we draw an Ascension and try to fight the game over getting a copied Lightning Bolt off of it, we can just draw another Lightning Helix and kill him. That would actually be a great way to win, because he's obviously trying to set up to find an infect guy and protect it. Blood Moon, huh? I think we run this. Well, we don't actually, because we can't cast this with Blood Moon out. And it seems like casting that would be pretty important to us, so I'm not going to. Yeah, we're going to need to cast Lightning Helix at some point this game, I think. I'm using Shota's list from the World Championships, by the way. That's where the list here comes from. Sure, you can have your Rancor. Alright, come on, Lightning Helix. Thought Scour, huh? Okay, well, we'll go ahead and start things off by attempting to anger. Maybe we should Thought Scour first to try to just win. Can we do that? We would go red. Yep, we'd have exactly enough. Sure, I guess. No, because then we can't dispel. I'm just going to anger. Get a pump spell out of his hand. I might dispel it. Is it Might of Volcrosa actually doesn't do it here, so it's got to be a different pump spell. Vines doesn't do it here. Apostle's Blessing does. So, I mean, actually doesn't have that many. He has to burn 2 pump spells to save it. Or you can Kick of Vines, I guess. Or you can burn it and become immense on it. Am I fine with this? I think I'm fine with this. We just fight over him trying to actually kill us. It's whatever. Even saves us from having to discard this Blood Moon. Oh, you just play Blood Moon and then bolt it. He wouldn't be able to stop it on his upkeep or whatever, but I think this is fine. I'm waiting Thought Scour at the end of the turn to try to draw something. Again, you know, we can take a hit or 2 from it. And by that I mean I guess we can take 1 hit if he Might of Old Croesus it. Alright, so I guess we have to bolt. Might as well bolt. I think it's probably the least likely one to resolve here. He's got 4 cards in hand, one of which is a Nature's Claim, one of which is an Apostle's Blessing. Oh, okay, we have to respond by doing this. Our outs are becoming so limited by having to play this way. Well, we're down to the 1 Lightning Bolt in hand. Okay, well, we killed his guy, so pressure's off again for the moment. Even got some life out of it. So we have gone through 1, 2, 3 Lightning Bolts. We have the 4th in our hand and 3 Lightning Helix. So actually, the only way we can win is to, is to get our Ascension, get an Ascension going, and oh my gosh, okay, or get him to deal himself more damage somehow. None of this feels very good. Maybe boarding out Thing. I just assume he has so many ways to kill Thing in the Ice. I assumed a lot more Twisted Images. We just wanted to get rid of it. But I also didn't anticipate us going through this many cards in our deck and still not having the Ascension active. And we're still not going to. Alright, well, we still have to cast the Lightning Helix to win this game. So I guess the Blood Moons are nothing here. Still can't find it. Okay. Land down, Thought Scour down. We'll draw 3 at the end of our turn and try to win. Or at the end of his turn and try to win. You know, we find this is a little crazy. I think we've learning that we can't take out the Thing in the Ice here. As bad as it might seem, and as nice as it is to blank cards like Twisted Image in his hand. Seems like that might be a little dangerous right now. We're having to play this game in a very particular way because of that. Which we can still win. Oh gosh. Okay, well. Let's hope we find everything we need right here. This is a start. This is a start. Okay. Oh my gosh, okay. Ascension. What a crazy game. Manamorphose. Trigger, please. Just go ahead and dispel this. Is there a way to play around this where, like, if he has another, I guess there's something we can do anyways. I was like a Thought Scour to get a counter. We're just going to dispel it and hope that this is good enough. I mean, if he has another Nature's Claim, a 3rd Nature's Claim of the game, might be in trouble. Doesn't seem to be the case, though. Alright, so we want red and blue. Okay, actually, we know we can't get anything with that, but I can now Thought Scour him. That puts 2 on this, and then our next Manamorphose gets us what we need. Yep. Now we have 2 counters. We can Manamorphose, paying red and a blue. Copying it, getting a red and a white. Original, getting a red and a blue, whatever. We will Lightning Helix him. Copied. Oh my gosh, this game. Same targets. Alright, put you to 4, buddy. Lightning Bolt you. This is game 2. We have to play another and our clock is so low. Alright, we did it. We got there. With literally the only combination of cards in our deck that allowed us to get there, we got there. Sure. Why not? Let's try again. Let's get something in the Isis back in here. Oh, man. Lesson learned right there. I liked having the Dispel, though. We probably don't need as many lootings here. I kind of actually disliked the Blood Moons, given we don't have basic planes in the deck. I think I said earlier I was playing Shoto's list. That's actually wrong. This was Ryuichi Tamada's list. It was a Japanese player. I just remembered the wrong one. It was interesting. All 4 Japanese players at the World Championship, which is where I was at last week covering it. I'm always the guy sitting in the background on the computer. They all worked alone. None of them worked together, despite being in the same area. And they all came with very interesting modified decks. Nobody had the same list, and they weren't all playing Obzon or Jund or whatever like everyone else was at the tournament. So, props to them. And this is a pretty fun one to come out of it. Now let's see how our opponent decides to come back after that extreme game we just played. We have Thing in the Ice again. This is important. Our outs are no longer limited to making sure we can copy the final 2 burn spells in our deck to kill our opponent. Also, had to play this one kind of fast because of the clock. I do imagine he'd like to go first. Okay. Well, we're keeping it. Double path, Thing in the Ice Visions is pretty good. Hope he's not sitting on that twisted image. Now, I thought maybe there were a bunch of twisted images given that he had it in game 1, but he may just have 1 or 2. And we didn't see any in game 2, and he went through about half his deck. So, maybe we don't need to be as concerned about that as we were in that, when we sideboarded the way we did. Our opponent moved to 6, so not a bad start. When he gets to work with perfect information again. He was not kind enough to. We're not lucky enough to have the same benefit this game. But double path is pretty good. I might path something on the first turn, Thing in the Ice on the second turn, and then work on flipping our Thing in the Ice. Now, it is true that if we do manage to flip a Thing in the Ice, he basically has no outs to it. So that's something to keep in mind. Let's see if he wants to shock himself here. Nope. All right. When you have Thing in the Ice, drawing more Manamorphose is never a bad thing. Yep, you got it. Wow, he has no second land, I see. I'm going to go ahead and get the... We have no blue mana, right? So we have to get a Hallowed Fountain, I suppose. It's fine. I'm almost tempted. I'm actually just going to play the Thing in the Ice here. He did not have a second land. He didn't have a second land, so, you know, even if he has the spell or something, we get to untap into 2 Path to Exiles. He's not going to kill us from this board state. And then we get to remove counters from our Thing in the Ice. So instead, he's just going to try to turbo us out. So I'm just going to take my 5 Infect, and if he has triple mutagenic growth, I accept that we lose. He does not. So we actually can cast four spells here. That's pretty good. So I'm just going to stop in the upkeep. Try to path this guy. Now we assume that this doesn't work. It might work, I don't know. Oh, it's going to work. Okay, Glistener Elf down. You know, Thing in the Ice is another answer that we can trigger when we need to. But I'm probably just going to turbo flip this thing and kill him. Alright, so he's got a land now. He's got another Glistener Elf. Sure, why not? And let's go ahead and get the Manamorphosis going. Red and blue, that's fine. We'll play the second one. And I will get white and blue. Now I will cast Visions of Beyond to flip our Thing in the Ice and bounces Glistener Elf. Which answers Glistener Elf just as well as pathing it, in fact better. So it's going to get bounced. We're going to get him for 7, knock him to 11. He's going to replay it. Then we're going to path it. Attack again. Now, hopefully, in the meantime, we'll find another bolt or something. So he can only have so many answers. But this is looking pretty good for us right now. Okay, another land. Yeah, we don't need the mana. It's fine. All right, go ahead and start things off here by... So this is our path mana by looting away some of this stuff. I guess maybe we could have probed first, but... Alright, so we'll get rid of this. Actually, yeah, it doesn't. We have a basic amount in our deck, so we can fetch with that. So we'll do this. We'll go ahead and probe him. Know what we're up against here. Oh my gosh, okay. Yep, double vines. And we drew more land. Go ahead and Thought Scour ourselves here. Because again, if we hit Bolt, then we can... Oh, we hit another Thing in the Ice. That's not bad either. Now he doesn't. We actually don't have enough spells to flip this thing currently. But it is a blocker, which is in its... Well, I mean, not for the Blighted Agent, but that eats up more of his mana at least. Alright, well, we're in for 7. So we can flashback to Faithless Looting. So we could play a land, go up to 5 lands, flashback to Faithless Looting. And we're not out of the woods. Well, maybe he's got vines. Not at all out of the woods. Okay, good. Now we are. That was close. Now, obviously, we've seen so much of our deck, it's not surprising, but... Because even if we were to, flashback looting and have this and the bolt, that's not enough counters to flip this thing. Now, it's possible he made a mistake here by playing the... Well, I see why he plays Blight Agent. He makes us have 2 removal spells. But if he just plays the 1-drop, he has double vines, when we're trying to make this play right here. And then he gets to untap with it, and he can draw a a protection spell to get through. But I mean, maybe that's not really any better. I will knock him to 3. We'll go ahead and flashback our Faithless Looting here. All right, so this is obviously enough because there go the lands, but we have the spell for the thing in the ice. So even if he were to come up with something crazy here, we can flip the thing in the ice. But I don't think that's going to work out for him. Also, we can just Helix him. He has Spell Pierce up. He has a... So, my gosh, he did draw it, as a matter of fact. I don't know what his possible outs would be here, but... Alright. I read an Owen Turnwald article that said slow playing is the correct thing to do. It's not a jerk thing to do. So it is correct to hold the Helix there. Yeah, I agree. You have that. I will pay. What a match. That was actually really good. Really interactive for Infect, and much more interactive than Infect usually is. Good match. Good games. That was fun. That game 2 was nuts. Okay, brought the thing in the ices back in, and they won us the 3rd game.